Hello my soul family, welcome to our spiritual talk for this full moon in Virgo. We are in February 2021, so this full moon was on February 27th of 2021. This is a special show provided by my Body, Mind and Spirit Health and Wellness brand, and my name is Christie Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. So today's spiritual talk and also our spirituality retreat, which is going to be the next video, it's a little celebration and a special occasion, which is why I brought it out to a very special location. And it's interesting, the rhyming, right, and the synchronicity behind all of these events, because this full moon in Virgo is actually bringing in a lot of positive energy. So this is what I want to talk about. As always, I like to first decipher the energies before we get into our healing session, because once we know what it is that the energies are about, we can more laser focus on healing the areas that need healing and attention. So I want to begin today's spiritual talk with a little bit more of a Zen energy. I was really feeling this Zenness, which is why I wore my Zen outfit. This is my Zen sacred outfit. I have several sacred outfits, and today I was definitely feeling this Zen vibe. And as you all notice, there's a little campfire back of me because this is a full moon, so it's about celebrating through bonfires, right? But I am bringing in this special Tibetan sambal, which is a little different than my other golden sambal, and this is to bring in more Zen vibes. I really feel the ancient wisdom come through when I use this. I've been using this every morning in my meditation, and it kind of has brought this different vibe, this serenity to my entire day, because what you do in your morning ritual does set the intention and the stage for the rest of your days. So with this full moon ceremony today, I really want to bring in positive energy for you all to experience in this new cycle that we're all stepping into. So just close your eyes and receive this beautiful energy. Beautiful. So of course I did bring a little bit of a hot, warm cup of coffee for you to enjoy. And I do want to talk about this flow of energy that's coming in. This is definitely about going with the flow again, to allow the magic to manifest. This is about sacral chakra activation. This is the main focus of this new energy. And it's also about creativity and our artistic potential. I did talk about this and I felt this energy when I did the weekly health guidance for this week, and also all of the daily morning spiritual guidance. This is creative energy that's coming in to help also to alleviate any mental health imbalances or just low energy. It could be like people dealing with depression or any sense of deflation with life, right? Losing that zest for life. I feel like creativity and immersing ourselves into arts and crafts is going to help to bring in back that passion. And it's going to really help to bring in more of that joy for life and help you to enjoy the luxuries of life, right? Because a lot of the time, if you tend to be the workaholic kind of type, like myself, this can get in the way actually of your happiness and of this balance that we all need in our relationships, in our health, and for us to experience overall wellness. We need to have a balance in life, especially if you have a family, if you have children. All of this needs to be taken into consideration. And God is telling us that yes, we can do it all, but you need to have more faith. So I feel like this creativity, which are basically divine inspirations, and hence why I created my Christie's Divine Creations, which is it's like a special brand of my Body, Mind and Spirit Health and Wellness brand. In my holistic nutrition series, I do special cake designs as I'm guided to. And the latest cake design actually that I had in mind and then was created by someone else, because it was my sister's birthday. Okay, so let me explain to you. And I was initially going to make her birthday cake. I was going to make it a fondant, very nice professional cake. And just because of lack of time and didn't have all the resources that I needed yet, my mother ordered another cake from a cake designer that we usually always order from, and she is amazing. She's like one of the top. And it's interesting because the cake design was exactly what I had envisioned in my mind. It was filled with butterflies, but it was in a certain order that I even had it in my mind. I drew it and everything. And it was like the ascension of our transformation, the evolution through our soul journey, the blossoming in divine timing. I was definitely channeling all of these messages, which of course this also brings about spring is around the corner. But this full moon in Virgo is setting things in order before spring comes in order, which is the blossoming of our projects, the blossoming of this new life that we're creating, this new chapter, and getting everything in order. So taking care of the minuscule details, making sure that everything is said and done, at least working on getting it done within the next few weeks before definitely springtime begins, which spring, if you wanted to know, begins at the end of March this year. So we still have like about a month to finish these final touches. But God is telling us not to waste time because, you know, when you're having fun, time flies by. And we're at a current time right now that time is of the essence. So we can't just sit around and do nothing. And you know what? This is definitely a temptation that's coming up. The temptation to do nothing. The temptation to just give into boredom, laziness, procrastination. All of these, believe it or not, are actually one of the main 7 sins, right? Laziness is definitely considered one of the 7 sins, 7 deadly sins, right? And this is especially true when it comes to light workers who have an important mission. And there's always something to do, and there's always something to be working on. But again, like I said last time, I feel like I said it in my weekly health guidance, not all the things that we need to do are necessarily overtaxing. Some things are a little bit more passive, some things that you can do more in your relaxing time, because even though you're relaxing, it doesn't really mean that you need to do nothing, because we don't want to sink into that nothingness, into that vibration, where then you kind of start liking that, and that's not the route to go. That's not the right soul path. Your true soul path is always working on achievements, continuously growing spiritually, also in the material realm, because believe it or not, this is what the spiritual journey is about as we are incarnated on earth. It's about manifesting these spiritual insights that we get into the physical to transmit it to the collective. Because what good it is if we just keep it in our head, right? It's about sharing our evolution. This is what a warrior of light is about. They share their transgressions, the overcoming of their challenges, how they conquer their fears, so that others can follow in their footsteps. That's what a true leader is about. And you know, with this full moon in Virgo, you know, right before the full moon came into Virgo, the moon was in Leo for a bit, and then now it's moving into Libra as the weekend ends. And this is very interesting because a moon in Leo is about bringing in more of this joy and happiness for what we do. The Virgo energy, if you think about it, is ruled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury is not direct. It wasn't retrograde, if you all didn't know. So I'm bringing in a little bit of astrology here. And with this Mercury direct now, and now that Virgo, ruled by Mercury, is in the full moon, this is very important and prominent in this action that we need to take in life towards specifically our mission, our purpose here on earth. Career and purpose has been coming up really strong, and I feel like because there is a lot of 10th house activity going on, which does rule your purpose, your karmic purpose, your soul path. And if you've not yet discovered what your soul path is, what your purpose here on earth as you incarnated, then people are awakening to this. You know, I feel like a lot of people, even though the massive awakening took place in 2020 with this whole pandemic that went on, I feel like there's still new people awakening this new year. And for those who awakened in the year 2020, these are the people that are experiencing the rebirth, right? Being reborn again into a new you, which is why my program, A New You, is coming up really strong. I really suggest that you purchase it, I'm even working on the book right now because I really feel like this is the time even when it's going to be even more important for us to take this action towards this transformation. And that's what this program was about. It's about teaching you these 10 main themes that you need to work on and focus on when you're in retrospection. What to journal about. These are journal prompts as well that I give you. Certain wounds that we need to work on correcting and healing from, so that we can become this new self that is more mature, spiritually mature, emotionally mature, and of course physically mature. And it's not about confusing the two, right? Physical maturity, your age, has nothing to do with your spiritual maturity. So God is reminding you again that you're never too young and you're never too old to embark on the spiritual journey and start taking action towards this healing that needs to take place. Because like I said, these past 10 years, and I even feel like ever since the year 2000 has come up, you know, it's interesting because this weekend, as I'm doing this spirituality retreat, as usual, you know, I like to do these on the weekends when I'm very refreshed, when I've done my own purification rituals. Yesterday, I spent the whole day cleaning up my space, actually purifying myself as well, doing my purification rituals. It was very much like a spa day for me and just like a cleansing day. So that now God guided me to show up. I was actually gonna postpone it for next week, but God really pushed me to do it today because I am in the most purified state right now. So I'm very connected to spirit, and there's a lot of messages that want to come through. And last night I was getting downloads and messages, and I was actually being shown a lot of history of what has been going on with the collective from the year 2000 to even the year 2010, 2012, because 2012 to 2020 is what Dolores Cannon started prophesizing the split of the earth, right? And this split of the earth was basically now when people were awakened into what's the 3D and what's the 5D. So everything that happened prior to 2012, and I was looking back into my childhood, the idols that I used to look up into in my childhood, and I started to look at their life, what they were going through, and now where they are now. And it's interesting because there was a lot of darkness that was going on in the spiritual realm, and it was kind of attacking the light workers. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, like Dolores Cannon said, that the year 2020 was going to be the ultimate split of the earth, hence the new earth. This is when finally the light workers are triumphing. This is when the light workers now are winning. This has always been a war of light over dark, right? It's even goes back to the Bible. It goes back to history. It always goes back to that, the duality. But at the same time, it's very ironic that A Course in Miracles teaches us that the darkness, which is propelled by fear, by the ego, is really all an illusion. So how do you explain when people were actually dealing with their shadows, their dark nights of the soul, people who were dealing with mental health imbalances, which I, as a psychologist and therapist, I like to see it not necessarily as a chemical imbalance, which is what the doctor route usually prescribes it at. I see it as a spiritual crisis, as a spiritual chaos going within their aura. And this is the new age mentality, but I've truly awakened to this answer just within like the past year and a half when I awakened on my journey. And it's interesting enough, at least in my life, I was trying to kind of see how it all fit into where I'm at and my purpose. And it's interesting that I wasn't fully awakened till last year, when finally the light is more protected. And I feel like the light workers who were awakened before, prior, like even in the year 2000 with the millennium, they were not necessarily yet even clear on their path either. They were just perhaps in the closet, spiritual closet, because it was not something that was popular to talk about or even of the norm. It wasn't necessarily accepted. So people were hiding a lot of these messages in their artwork, through music, just like in the old days, right? Like in the Renaissance era. And these are your classic pop stars, celebrities. You know, I feel like I was doing a lot of research into Hollywood as well. And you see all of this dichotomy of the good and the bad side to it, the double sided of the coin, when it comes to fame, when it comes to being a public figure, when it comes to being in the spotlight. And I feel like there was a lot of this going on with especially the more influential artists. And it's like they were like a little bit attacked in a sort of way spiritually, because they had this power in their hands. And eventually, as new artists started to rise later, after the year 2012, or a little bit prior maybe, building up to this year 2012, I feel like now there was more of a strength to light workers, more of a strength to also disguise themselves as not a light worker, right? Kind of like the saying, wolf in sheep's clothing. The full moon brings in this concept. This is a saying that lots of people associate full moons with, the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? It could be literally a dark person disguising themselves as a light person. But then I flipped it around, and it can also be the other way around, which I feel like was happening a lot in the media and in the mainstream media more than anything. It was these light workers actually disguising themselves as being one of the crowd, right? In a very subtle way. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but just, you know, when it comes to peer pressure, what's the popular thing to do? But I feel like they were using it for good, okay, with disguising themselves as not being a light worker, because of course that could be shunned. If you think back in the days, you know, the light, look at Jesus Christ. He was literally crucified. So there's always been this scare among the light workers, and I never felt that because, again, I'm pretty new on the journey, like on the actual spiritual journey, even though I was still being trained in my life for this very moment. So even though I was a little bit in the dark, you can say, about the knowledge about what I'm working on, I always had this sense of great purpose within me, even though I wasn't clear on what that purpose was, even though it wasn't my time yet. And this is where we let go of expectations, right? But not to talk about me, but I was training for this moment, and I feel like there's still more yet to come. This is just the beginning for me. But again, others set the stage for these new light workers now coming on the rise. Like John the Baptist set the stage for Jesus Christ, right? These are the same parallel dynamics that are happening, but evolving into something better over time. And I feel like the reason why I'm bringing this up, again, Mercury is very intellectual, right? It's kind of putting all these puzzle pieces together, the chess player, the strategist. So I am bringing a little bits in here, putting all the pieces together, because I do feel like, you know, it definitely is about staying in alignment. I feel like these people who sank on their journey, who experienced this downfall, was because they didn't have any idea how to remain aligned spiritually. And again, spirituality and the spiritual journey wasn't something that was talked about a lot in those times. And it's funny because during those times, like 2000, I was probably only like 10, 12 years old. So I was very young on my journey, but these other artists were a little older. So this guidance that we're all getting, we're living at a very lucky time. Even though it seems chaotic on the exterior, truth be told, this is just a transition into a better life, even into a better dynamic among the collective, into our mainstream media, into society, in the political realm. Because if they would have had spiritual guidance during those times, they would have made wiser decisions. They would have seen right through the veil between the people that they were getting involved with that was setting them off their path. So this is about being more smart and even cunning to an extent for the good on our journey. Because if not, you're going to be stomped all over. And especially as light workers, those of you who are empaths, remember this saying, you know, vulnerability is a strength, but only when you realize, first of all, that you're vulnerable, right? Because people who don't realize that they're vulnerable, those are actually the people that are vulnerable, because they're blind, and hence they can be influenced very easily. And they don't then have any power or control over their vulnerability, which is a strength as an empath. Because as a strength, you learn to read people, you can feel other people so you can be a better counselor, etc. But if you're not aware of this, then it can backfire. And so that's what they were missing, right? They didn't know. And of course, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about a certain few people that I have in my head. But I don't want to mention names, because this is not about that. It's about the entire story behind this. Because I feel like a lot of people were dealing with that. And this is karmic lessons that we all deal with on our journey. And when you awaken then to this inner strength and at the other side vulnerability, then you can better protect yourself and then better be aligned all the time. If you're diligent with your practice, if you have a close relationship with God, with spirit, with your angels, life becomes easier, and because you're better to make wiser decisions. And of course, this doesn't mean that you need to be older to be wise. It has nothing to do with age. It doesn't even have to do with experience per se, because a lot of people can have a lot of experience but still be making the same mistakes. Okay, and I've seen this too. You know, people say they're talking from experience, but then look at their life, it's a mess. So it's not about that. It's just about being innately wise. Like for me, I'm an old soul, so even though at one point in my life, like we all do during our teenage years, we do make stupid mistakes, you can say, but it never fully took me off my path. I was always in the light. I was always a good person. And the reason is, of course, because I have a strong purpose. But there were times where I was making dumb mistakes because I wanted to believe in the best of other people. And that's not necessarily the case. Part of being wise is also seeing the truth for what it is. Seeing that some people are not healed and are not in that position to be in your life, because they can then project, they could bully, they could manipulate, all of these things that are done from a hurt place. And part of being a light worker is being empowered enough to say no, to back off and walk away from those sort of relationships and not engage, because you're protecting the mission now. It's not all about you anymore. It's about something greater. And I'm bringing this up because I feel like there's still a lot of people dealing with peer pressure, sadly. And that shouldn't be the case anymore. Especially if you're very diligent with watching my videos or spiritual guidance in general. But I really hope that you do watch my videos diligently, because this will help you to sit on your path. Remember, the masters that you choose to follow, eventually you will become like your teacher. And my only intention is to be a good role model for you, which is why I've done a lot of inner healing work on my journey, so that I can be in this position to be able to continue to speak what I preach and talk what I preach, or walk what I preach, however you say it. I live by my words, and I'm constantly asking God if I'm in His grace and if I'm on the right path, and if not, to please correct me, because I want to be a great role model. And I want to be a leader, an inspirational leader that does what she preaches. And it's not necessarily even about preaching, because I don't really like that word as well. This is just about sharing the knowledge, the wisdom that I've gained on my journey, so that others can know and learn as well. And they can also follow in those footsteps. So it's like guidance that we get from spirit. And it's a very powerful moment, again, with this full moon in Virgo, to make these final changes, to get on a purification path, to become sacred again, right? Because Virgo does rule the Virgin Mary. Maybe even connecting to Mother Mary, the feminine within us, because in my sacred prayer circle, which is something that I do every week, we connect with Mother Mary. We pray to her, we ask her to pray for us, and she gives us guidance as to how we can best harness the energy and nurture ourselves back to wholeness, because this is needed. I feel like some of the people are dealing with toxification, intoxication, right? It could be due to alcohol, drugs, and believe it or not, whatever you say, trust me that when an alcoholic says alcohol is not addicting, or drugs or whatever you smoke is not addicting, that's actually the people who are addicted, right? The people who are actually codependent on that to release something from their life. It could be anxiety, it could be depression, wanting to numb their emotions. And I dare you, if you are not addicted like you say to that substance, then go a week or 2 weeks without it and see how you feel. I feel like this kind of codependency is coming up strong, and this is a way for the darkness to seep into your life. And I know that this is something that is very religious, right? This is something that religion actually believes in, that there is negative entities in alcohol. And I, as a spiritual person, do believe in that. And the reason is because when you are under the influence of any sort of substance, whether it be drugs or just alcohol, and I don't want to say just alcohol, because alcohol can be a very powerful influencer, negative influencer, making you say things that is not really you, making you do things out of character, right? A lot of people use it as an excuse to let them be more social, let them be more calm, or release who they really are inside. But I'm here to tell you that there's natural ways to do that, and that's not the route, because that is fake promises from that substance. In the end, it's not going to serve, and it's not going to end well. So part of the spiritual journey is also taking this into consideration. I feel like this full moon in Virgo, more than just the perfectionist aspect and even the orderly aspect of getting everything in order in our life, it's also about this purification within from actual substances, anything that is creating toxic energy in your life. Whether it be a relationship that's toxic and maybe you're not realizing it, or whether it's something that you're ingesting that is creating a toxic energy in your life. Because I feel like if there's this still toxic energy or vibration around you, then you're going to stay stagnant in that energy, and there's no way to continuously evolve. And the soul journey is about continuous evolution, and whenever there's a stagnation or a block, there's something that needs to be done about it. And so we need to really take this into consideration, set our intentions. I know that this is not a new moon, but I do feel like this is an exception to the rule with this full moon in Virgo. Set your intentions on what you want to release. If there is a substance that's taking ownership and power over your life, and even in ruining your life, making you make unwise decisions, then release that. Set the intention to release it so that you can feel liberated and serene in your life. We all deserve this calmness. So this is a definite energy for this full moon in Virgo. I want to see what else wants to come through. I do want to bring in my cards, maybe do a reading and ask a little further more insights into this energy, because I do feel like it's strong. A lot of crown chakra activation as well with downloads. I don't know about you, but I have been dealing with a lot of headaches when I'm channeling energy. And it's funny because it's only when I'm doing spiritual work, or when I'm about to do it, or when I'm preparing for it, which is basically the entire week. So I've been dealing with this as well, and for me, these are just heavy ascension symptoms that we're all as light workers experiencing. Even true spiritual lovers, I feel like the spiritual love journey is also coming up strong for this full moon in Virgo, because this is about spiritual sacred love and purifying ourselves to be able to attract and receive this kind of love in our life. So we are experiencing heavy ascension symptoms for those who have been doing the work. And this requires a lot more rest. It requires slowing down, taking it easy so that you can just allow your body to adjust to these new changes and just going with the flow again, right? Arts and crafts are going to take our mind off of it to help relieve physical ascension symptoms. So that's definitely a message. Water therapy, of course, drinking lots of water, but also like salt baths, taking extra showers as necessary, and just immersing yourself into water. Because I feel like that's what's definitely going to purify our emotions, the ascension symptoms, even what our twin is feeling, right? If you're on the twin journey, on the soulmate, on the twin journey, on the soul journey, and on the twin soulmate journey, this is coming up strong as well, because these lovers are getting activated and all of the chakras are being cleansed. And this is something that I'm going to talk in the March love show for sure in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. There's a lot that I want to talk more that I'm not going to bring into this conversation, but that it has to do with the love and the spiritual journey. And this is all going to help us to grow and even to manifest this in our life. Power couples, right? Getting on mission together and actually meeting in the physical realm, because a lot of lovers haven't met yet, and it's very much time. This is being rushed or thrust upon again, the masculines to take action towards their feminine and really bringing into consideration that there's nothing to fear. I feel like there's a lot of insecurities that are coming up, just a lot of fears even of rejection. And this is something that God is reminding us and reassuring us that you can never be rejected, because God loves us all, and that's the ultimate only approval that we need on our journey. And if you are rejected, then chances are that's not your spiritual lover. That's just the message. So I'm going to bring out my cards and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some cards here, and the first card that we got actually was Divine Magic. I'm bringing in my mermaid cards because I'm really feeling this water energy. Extra magical energy surrounding your situation right now, so expect miracles. And this is the miraculous energy that I'm talking about when creativity is sparked, right? Sacral chakra and healing heart. We're definitely healing right now. You're a powerful healer. So this is about even alchemy, alchemizing magic. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So it's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear. So just be mindful of your thoughts during these times specifically, because they will manifest, right? So this is about always keeping your thoughts positive. I do want to bring in a little bit of a shadow card to see what we're dealing with on a subconscious level, because I really do feel like it's subconscious. We're not necessarily aware of it, but they're playing out in the way that we react, interact, and in our relationships as a whole, and overall how we feel. So calling the storm. I feel like this is about overcoming the struggles. I mean, the struggles is real, right? A lot of us are still struggling, but this is about root chakra struggles, okay? Because she's wearing a red scarf. This is about financial stability, having a stable relationship as well, an emotionally love partner, right? And also safety in general, protection, letting go of fear, because these fears are not real. So this is the temple of my body. This is the purification that's needed for us to be able to get away from this chaos. Kind of like any tower moments, deconstructions only to construct something better. So it's not necessarily a struggle when you see it through different eyes, that sometimes you need to just deconstruct something to make it better. So when you see it from this way, it's not something that is going to be harmful, but rather it's beneficial for you, right? Think about this saying, the universe works for you, not to you. So just shift your thoughts and perspective when it comes to life and whatever is happening in your life. I want to get some extra energy cards to see what else wants to come through. Yeah, we're all desiring a happy family. So the angel of love is working behind the scenes to help make this happen, bringing more love into our life. Emotional stability, which is what my therapy sessions are going to be about this new week. And there is a man holding a heart. This is the masculine that wants to offer love to the feminine, but there's an indecision, a crossroads between their own battlefield within, right? The ego versus what the higher self is telling them. So the angel of love is helping to open up the heart and give this masculine more confidence to be able to make their decision a wise one. So the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra, Archangel Metatron, is working with the masculines. And for the feminines, again, it's the crown chakra. The seventh chakra, Archangel Uriel. She's getting a lot of revelations about past illusions and how they can reach this victory in life, and just giving them intuitive insights, right? The feminine's intuition is usually always more, I don't want to say correct, but it is usually a little bit more aligned. I feel like the masculine's energy can sometimes get a little foggy, because if they are not overprotective, I guess, because I don't know, I guess it just depends on how vulnerable, again, they are, right? That's the thing. It's about being aware of your vulnerability, and then when you're aware of it, then you're untouchable. But if you're not aware of it, then it can be used against you. So let's get a little extra energy. And of course, we got Aries energy on the bottom, which is about this fiery energy that's coming up, reigniting the passion in life, our mission, for love in general as well. And we got the Scorpio energy in reverse. So this is about overcoming the shadows. Because if you think about it, the Scorpio energy can represent our inner shadows, subconscious wounds. But being that it's in the reverse, we're getting out of that and we're healing. So this is very good, because we're hypersensitive right now to our emotions. So we can't let these emotions, again, bring us out of stability. But definitely check out this week's coming up. The motivational speech is going to be about how to reach emotional stability. And this is what's going to help us, because there is a lot of that going on. So don't let your emotions get in the way of your mission, get in the way of continuously growing and evolving on your soul journey. This is about being emotionally strong, emotionally intelligent, and stable. And we have soul contracts, the thinking man. This is about setting our intentions on crystals, right? Seeing clearly. Because past contracts, or even karmic contracts, have been only entered into as that person was blinded. So if you're in a karmic situation right now, you entered into it blinded. So now there is justice going on to restabilize this energy. And there's thinking, strategizing, how to set things right, how to set things straight, how to balance your own life. And these karmic contracts can even be your own soul mission, how you can better get on your journey, how you can better make a difference, influence the collective. Let's get an extra energy for this. Yeah, letting go of ego attachment, breaking the chains of anything that's holding you back, and allowing change to happen. Everyone is experiencing change, both feminines and masculines alike. The change looks different, but this change is necessary for us to continue to move on and evolve. Angels are helping us a lot, and we just need to be more open to this guidance and not be so stubborn about it or resistant to change. Let's get a little extra guidance from the Psychic Tarot. What is this change that we all are undergoing? What exactly is this change about on a profound level? Spiritual union. This is the romance that we are preparing for, fulfillment of wishes. I saw that word before. This is our wishes coming true. So not giving up, continuing to purify, filling up your cup so that you both can come together with a filled emotional cup. The number 2 is the balance, the spiritual union. So more empowerment needed. Infinite possibilities, assertiveness, inner confidence, leadership as well. And these partners, spiritual partners, coming in together for a spiritual mission as a power couple. And of course, this is only a few of these spiritual couples who will come into union fully. I feel like I was getting this message the other day as well. There are some spiritual partners that have already met, but they have not been yet healed 100%, or there's still resentment that's holding them back. But there's another group of twins, or wavelength of twins, who haven't yet met, but have done their journey in reverse. So they've done the healing work first, and these are the unions that will happen. This is the wavelength of twins that will come into union. The ones who did the healing first experienced all their karmic partners prior, so now they can both meet as healed. And again, this goes back even to the cosmic experiment. Remember, twin flames is also an experiment, as we are all incarnated as a human species, also an experiment from higher forces. And this is something that I talk about more in my Cosmic Consciousness show, where I connect to outside beings and the true reason why we're all here, right? So twin flame is an experiment. There's a scientific data. If you look more into the journey, I've taught about this before, and I will be teaching more about this later on, that there is only 144,000 twin flames incarnated at one point in time as a whole. So even during the generations. So it's only a few chosen out there who have a twin incarnated at the same time. Because others can have it, but they can already be either in another lifetime that they met, passed away, different circumstances. And I feel like one set of wavelength or set of twins have met prior, even prior to like the full awakening. So it kind of propelled the awakening of the spiritual journey. Whereas for another group, it was just more karmic partners that ignited this awakening, which can also happen because, but think about it, a karmic partner is someone who just teaches you a lesson, walks in to teach you a lesson, and then walks out. Soulmates are usually more serious relationships that happen in our life that we feel a kinship with, that even if you have broken up, there's still a friendship that you will never look back at that person with like this sort of even resentment. And I'm not saying that karmic partners bring up resentment, but a karmic partner relationship is different than a soulmate relationship, in that perhaps with a soulmate relationship, you can even still be friends after the relationship and not be anything more than friends, like not see the passionate romantic aspect to it. But if it's a karmic partner, you can't even return to that state of friendship. So that's when you know that it was a karmic lesson, because it was a teacher that needed to teach you something and then just go back on their soul path. And we all get these type of walk-ins because we all need to learn. And I feel like most of the karmic contracts have been over with for most of the collective. There was a huge transit in astrology that brought in a lot of this karma, which is basically the past decade, you can say from 2010 to 2020. And I feel like that was the closing of cycles of karmic contracts. And I feel like whatever relationships were prior to 2010 and any new people that you've met in the year 2020 and beyond are the soulmates or twin flames. Okay, so this is serious stuff, because a lot of people go on confused about their love journey and the relationships that they're engaged in, and this can truly change your life and the route of your spiritual journey, the directions that we saw. Many people are blinded as to what direction to take, who to spend their time with, what relationship to engage in. And this is something to reflect on. What happened prior to the year 2010, and what's something new that's come up since last year? And how are the similarities that are paralleling to what happened prior, and how you can do things better? Because even though relationships popped up in the year 2010, I'm not saying that you should go back to those, because they were still lessons. Soulmates, it doesn't mean that it's the ultimate soulmate. the one that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, the one that's the spiritual union kind, which is the newness that's coming in, anything new from the year 2020 and beyond. But anything that taught what you learned in the year 2010 and prior. Okay, so again, anything that happened prior to the year 2010 are lessons and similarities that are coming up. But it's kind of like this notion, I'm sure if you're into learning more about the twin flame journey, you've all heard the term false twin. It's not necessarily a false twin, but it is kind of like a, what is that word? Like a catalyst, right? A catalyst for your spiritual journey. And I don't know about you, but I did have this experience with someone else that was a little bit serious. And it truly did mark my life. It was a marking and turning point in my life. This was a relationship, situation, friendship that lasted for about 6 years straight. And it taught me a lesson of my empowerment as a woman. But it did also awaken a lot of this awakening to this romantic love. And this is actually the time when the Twilight series in book form was released. I was very into those books. I remember clearly. This was like the year 2008, I believe. I'm gonna look it up exactly. But like 2008 to like 2010. And that's significant because the Twilight story is the classic twin flame journey. And even the modern version, we have, you know, the 50 Shades that came up later, right? But that's like the modern version. And those movies and books were released after the year 2012, or at least building up around that time, which again was the beginning sparks of this split of the earth, the new earth. So these are just ways, artistic ways, to give the same message. And this is something that we are experiencing if you're on the journey. And this is just bringing in a lot of kind of just thinking, right? Thinking, what was the point in that, of that experience, of meeting that person, of being in that situation? And most of us already know the answer, which the answer lies within us, right? I can't tell you the answer. You need to meditate that on your own. But this is not to go back to that. This is to finally close those chapters, any unfinished business that needs to be said and healed from, so that you can start this new beginning, which might be a little similar, a lot of familiarity with these new people that are coming into your life, the spiritual partner. And it's because you do know each other from another lifetime, but it also does bring in a little bit of nostalgia or memories from someone in this lifetime, that perhaps there might be some similarities. And so that's something to meditate on during these times, because there's a lot of meditation that needs to happen with this full moon. I want to continue bringing in more. Let's bring in my twin flame cards, definitely. These are very tied up right now, not wanting to come out. Like this is a message. The twins are bonded for life and nothing can get in the way of that, right? This is the re-emerging of this love into this new reality. But there's a lot of solitude that's taking place right now for healing purposes on both ends, on everybody's end. And of course, we have the mirroring energy. Exactly. The swan energy. This is in the physical realm. There's a lot of mirroring. Similar synchronicities. So and this is also about realizing that you are not a victim. Letting go of victimhood mentality. Concluding any karmic contracts that were not soulmates. And I feel like this new beginning is going to transpire into like the summer. Spring to summer. We got the blossoming of this. Letting go of any bound issues, right? Addictions, like I said, codependencies. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be actual substances. And this is what's holding you back. And I feel like there is a lot of focus right now on the material realm, like career and purpose. And big dreams, right? This need to release anything that's holding you back. Silence. Letting go also of not communicating. So communicating actually is what's needed. Purging and learning from these lessons, like I just mentioned. Spiritual cleansing. And dream until your dreams come true. That's definitely another message as well. And of course, we are in a full moon, so forgiving the past, and this will set the new stage for this new commitment. It's a beautiful energy with the divine feminine. Yes. There's a lot of signs that are keep giving you these messages, these synchronicities. So follow those signs because they are true and they are real. Finally, I want to bring in the Oracle of the Mermaids and then the astrology cards. I feel like the mermaids have something to tell us today. So let's see what they have to say. Okay, so this is about embracing the divine masculine. It was a little bit in the reverse. So I feel like there is even a respect towards men. That's what the card says. But allowing yourself to receive and allow yourself to give. Endurance, needing to keep going, needing to have this endurance for the spiritual journey. I know it can be tough, but a lot of spiritual cleansing is going to help us to be more receptive to honoring the masculine that wants to come in and show up. Because if you're functioning and walking around with a closed heart chakra, then there's no way that this love can enter. So that's a definite message for everybody. Reclaiming your authenticity in sanctuary. Respected boundaries. Needing to cleanse more solitude, to listen to spirit speak to you. And let's get an astrology card for today. For one final message. We got several messages, and we actually got the Taurus energy in reverse. I have sacrifice, Neptune, Jupiter, abundance, and 10th house, the world. So this is definitely about, again, the root chakra, right? We will receive blessings when we let go of hoarding energy, but also this need of greediness or egoness, competition, and realize that the world is so much more than that. So we're needing to sacrifice egoic desires. That's a definite message. Lust, greediness, ego, pride, all of these are mundane emotions. And we need to let go of that illusion, because Neptune also rules the illusions that you need to have more. That's functioning from a lack mentality as well. And realize that you are already beyond blessed. The Jupiter energy, giving us new opportunities to change our world. 10th house with career and purpose, dealing a lot with this. I feel like also spiritual partners, business partnerships showing up during these times, or at least triggering this with this full moon. And it's definitely going to change our life forever. This is a new beginning for everything in our life. And I feel like, you know, I've been talking about how we have been building up for this new beginning. I feel like this is the time now. I did say by the full moon in Virgo. So I do feel like we are, if you're experiencing any exhaustion or tiredness, it's just because of these last remnants that are being released. That does take energy. And just continue doing your healing, continue doing the work that you're being guided to do, wherever it is that you're being guided to go, and just surrender to what is happening, the process, and allow it to happen. So I do feel like now it's time to do our spirituality retreat. I am going to bring in actually my sound bowl. I feel like we need to do a sound bowl along with the bonfire, because it's going to heal us, our mind, and help us to experience more clarity in our third eye with these messages that we're receiving and downloading through our crown chakra. So again, thank you for joining me with this spiritual talk. This is a very much deep, profound conversation, bringing in a lot of deep, profound spiritual insights, and I hope that this illuminated you and perhaps even kind of propelled and prompted these new revelations in your life that you will be getting in these new insights. So do a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation. Take a look at my new Tell Me Soul Coaching program. It's going to help you during these transitions that we're still all experiencing this whole entire year. And that's just the message for this full moon in Virgo. I will see you all for the next new moon, and I hope that you have an amazing and beautiful weekend. My name is Christie Ramirez, and I'm your health and wellness expert. Namaste. Whoa.